everyone. I'm Tiffany Wong with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's Coast Guard has faced off multiple Chinese Coast Guard ships operating off Taiwan's east coast. The Coast Guard says 9 Chinese vessels were unnecessarily provoking Taiwan by coming close to Taiwan's waters. It also says it monitored the vessels and remains poised to defend the country's maritime rights. China's Coast Guard ships were likely returning to China after being deployed in large-scale military exercises around Taiwan earlier this week. A forum between Taipei and Shanghai is set to begin next Tuesday. But with tensions high after China's large-scale military drills earlier this week, Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council is blocking 10 people from the Shanghai delegation from entering Taiwan. For more on this, we're joined now by Chris Gorin, who's been following the story from Taipei. Chris, who are the people being blocked from coming here?
Well, the people are 9 Chinese journalists and the head of Shanghai's Taiwan Affairs Office, Jin Mei. Now, the Mainland Affairs Council, or MAC, which handles Taiwan's cross-strait relations, said that these people didn't pass a review, but they didn't give a specific reason. The blocking of Jin Mei in particular is notable because she heads the city's Taiwan Policy Office, so it would seem to be a natural choice to come to this forum. As for the others, it's still a little bit unclear as to why they've been denied. Jin has only been in this office since September, and her predecessor came to Taipei without any issue.
Do we have any sense of why Taiwan's making these moves now?
Well, the short answer is no. Now, Chinese officials have been denied entry into Taiwan before, but not usually in conjunction with this Twin Cities Forum, so this would appear to be a first.
And for this forum, the host city typically alternates between Taipei and Shanghai. Has Taiwan ever blocked people from the Chinese side from coming before?
Well, as you mentioned, no, it's unusual for Chinese officials to be blocked, although it has happened in the past. As you mentioned, the event has been hosted since 2010. And usually the two sides alternate hosting duties. So last year, Mayor Jiang Wan-an visited Shanghai, and this year is the first time that the forum has come back to Taipei since the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, Mayor Jiang Wan-an was asked about the news this morning, and this is what he had to say.
我们也很希望用同等待客之道，让他们全团进到台北，顺利进行市政的交流。 今天这样的结果，我们很遗憾。我们要对台湾的民主韧性有信心，开大门走大路。
Now, others from the KMT have also expressed concern about the decision and are asking for more information from the MAC about why they've denied these people. And if you look on Chinese social media, you will also see several people criticizing the ruling Democratic Progressive Party for trying to undermine one of the few remaining cross-strait exchanges.
Thank you, Chris. That was Chris Gorin reporting live in Taipei. Doubts are being raised over China's ability to invade Taiwan at a Taiwan Studies seminar held by Oxford University.
And in my other work on the Chinese PLA in recent years, I have very serious doubts about that. I think when Xi Jinping talks, as he does, talk up the Chinese military and its capabilities, that's very much intended to bolster morale and self-esteem.
Scholars believe China is unprepared to invade Taiwan due to uneven military unit capabilities and uncertainty over public support for war. They also discussed how incoming U.S. President Donald Trump might shift strategies to counter China's military expansion. The seminar followed a year of pivotal elections around the world with potential implications for the Indo-Pacific region. Earlier this week, President Lai Ching-te met with a Senate delegation from Poland, who offered support for Taiwan's participation in international organizations, while also promising deepening cooperation on technology and trade. The visit comes 1 week after Taiwan and Poland signed a Memorandum of Understanding for collaboration on space technology. For more on Taiwan's relationship with Poland, Alec McDonald spoke to Marcin Jaskula, Senior Advisor at the Taiwan-Poland Chamber of Commerce.
Can you tell us a little bit more about this Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, between Taiwan and Poland's space sector?
So the MOU between the Taiwanese Space Agency, TASA, and the Polish Space Agency, POLSA, lays a ground for fostering both countries' relationship in the space sector. It gives us and our companies a platform for engagement with very clearly predefined sectors and pillars of this cooperation, which is the space propulsion technologies for space launchers and satellites, the space situational awareness, and also the Earth observation technologies and downstream services. These are the three pillars that Taiwanese Space Agency has identified as core subjects for cooperation, and Polish Space Agency has answered to them, and this is what we're going to be pursuing and developing next year.
With propulsion systems come rockets and rocket launches. Taiwan currently does not have capabilities to launch rockets domestically. Is this something that TASA is hoping to provide in the next coming years?
Poland and Taiwan are in the similar space at the moment when it comes to rocket technologies. They both do suborbital rockets. However, in Poland at the moment we have reached a milestone recently with sending one of our suborbital rockets to 100 kilometers using nitrogen peroxide as a propellant. So this is something that TASA is looking at currently, and we feel like next year might be the year of first tests being conducted here in Taiwan.
Zooming out, how would you describe the state of Polish and Taiwanese relations right now?
All-time high by far. We see a very, very good engagement between our nations. Ling Jiarong's, the foreign minister's recent visit to Poland is definitely a highlight of this growing and tightening relationship. Taiwan has been a great contributor of humanitarian aid to Ukraine. Obviously, they have to deliver this humanitarian aid first to Poland, so then Polish authorities can send them to Ukraine, because there's simply no other way of doing this at the moment. Taiwan was also a very, very good donor of cash donations to Ukrainian cities and hospitals.
That was Marcin Jaskula, Senior Advisor at the Taiwan-Poland Chamber of Commerce. For more from Zoom In, Zoom Out, you can visit TaiwanPlus.com. Less than a week after the fall of the Assad regime in Syria, spirits in the capital Damascus are high as Syrians revel in newfound freedom. But other countries are keeping a close eye on how the rebel forces that toppled the authoritarian regime plan to rule the country next. Heading home, hundreds of Syrian refugees prepare to cross back into their homeland from Turkey and Lebanon after the end to a decade-long civil war.
خلص الحرب ونرجع إلى البلد إلى موطننا ونقعد نرتاح بوطننا وحاجة خلص حاجتنا كفاها المولى.
Rebel forces broke into prisons where the regime led by ousted President Bashar al-Assad had detained tens of thousands of people, subjecting them to torture and mass killings. Among those released, a missing American who'd last been seen in Budapest.
Where were you all this time?
I was imprisoned in Damascus for the last 7 months.
But with Assad's fall, there's now uncertainty over the transfer of power in Syria. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Turkey after visiting Jordan to discuss next steps with the country's neighbors. The U.S. is seeking an inclusive transition and stability in Syria.
I've had many calls over the last days with partners in the region, and everyone's agreed on the need to have a unified approach to advance many of our shared interests.
But uncertainty continues. Israeli forces have launched 400 attacks on Syria since Assad fled to Russia, striking what it claimed to be weapons manufacturing sites to prevent them from falling into the hands of the rebels that toppled the regime, many of whom are listed as terrorists by the U.S. and other countries. As they form their new government, it's unclear how much direction they'll take from regional stakeholders as they try to distance themselves from Assad and the horrors of the past decade. Kamashri and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus. India's Gukesh Dommaraju has become the youngest world chess champion in history after defeating China's Ding Liren in Singapore on Thursday. The closely contested match saw 18-year-old Dommaraju unseat Ding, who was last year's champion. The championship title comes with a $2.5 million cash prize. Dommaraju is the second Indian in history to secure the title. Vietnam is looking to cut severe pollution choking its capital city, Hanoi. Part of the government's plan is to reduce the number of gas-powered motorbikes on the roads and replace them with electric alternatives. As Rosie Greninger explains, Gen Z drivers are leading the charge.
Taxi driver Wong drives his electric motorbike through Vietnam's heavily polluted capital, Hanoi, using a mask to avoid the fumes. Here, gas-powered motorbikes rule the roads, and the exhaust of the country's 77 million bikes account for 2/3 of the poisonous smog in Vietnam. In the face of the unbearable pollution, Wong is among a growing number of Gen Z workers turning to electric vehicles.
Khi mà đi xe xăng mà dừng ở đấy mà mình chỉ muốn vượt đèn đỏ, không muốn đứng lại lâu. Cái mùi xăng, mùi dầu lên rất là ghê.
And he is not alone in wanting change. Government officials have ordered that 1/4 of all two-wheelers across the country be electric by 2030 to battle the air crisis. And the electric mopeds are now more accessible at a price as little as $500. But there are still issues preventing more people making the switch.
Tôi không thích đi xe điện vì xe điện không được điện, đi sẽ không khỏe và đường đèo các thứ thì sẽ không an toàn. Còn đi xe xăng, xe số thì nó sẽ an toàn và thuận tiện hơn nhiều.
And those who have converted to electric feel long charging times cause a loss in work and income, with battery recharging taking up to 3 hours. But a Vietnamese company has created a quick fix, setting up stations across Hanoi where riders can instantly swap a depleted battery for a new one.
Thì hiện tại là công ty đang hợp tác với các hãng về vận tải như là Grab, Bee, Lazada, Shopee, rồi là Viettel Post và nhiều doanh nghiệp khác nữa. Thì cái đón nhận của các doanh nghiệp này đều rất là tốt và họ đều có những cái mục tiêu và có những lộ trình để chuyển đổi sang xe điện. Và tài xế cũng đón nhận rất là tốt.
Despite the efforts to make e-bikes more convenient, many in Vietnam remain hesitant. This company's founder is urging the government to help drive momentum through incentives, including waiving registration fees. But transport experts warn electric vehicles alone won't fix the issue.
Và bản chất là cái bài toán đấy nó cũng rất là dài hơi trong việc là cái chuyển đổi về sở hữu và sử dụng phương tiện xe, giảm ùn tắc. Bởi vì xét cho cùng ấy, nếu mà chỉ chuyển dịch một giữa xe 2 bánh xăng sang xe 2 bánh điện chẳng hạn, thì thực ra bản chất ùn tắc là vẫn thế. Cái mạng lưới đường vẫn vậy thôi.
To help free up gridlocked streets, residents here are being encouraged to embrace public transport. Even with these changes, eliminating severe air pollution will take some time. But as more drivers make the switch to electric, this city is one step closer to cleaner and clearer streets. Dolphine Chen and Rosie Greninger for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Tiffany Wong. Take care and see you next time.